Hi guys, welcome back to part 2 of our Boxing Day video. If you haven't seen the first part of this, you can find it right here, and I'll just wait about for a few minutes while you get caught up. All done? Right, let's get on with it. So, as a quick recap, we've got a brand new mid-range gaming PC to build, featuring the AMD Ryzen 5 2600X, Nvidia GTX 1660 Super Gaming OC Edition from Gigabyte, 16GB of ADATA Spectrix 3000MHz RGB RAM, a 256GB ADATA XPG NVMe solid state drive, a 1TB Seagate Barracuda hard disk drive, the MSI B450 Gaming Plus Max motherboard, and a Cooler Master ML240 RGB all-in-one liquid cooler, powered by an aero-cooled semi-modular 750W integrated PSU, and finally some custom coloured cable extensions and the AVP Aerion tempered glass ATX case. And now it's time to hand back over to our PC building department. PC building department, can you make sure to unbox that Ryzen for us, and be careful because it's brand new. Since the new building department is still clearly in need of more training, I decided to get this one done myself. The first step is to make sure all the mounting points in the case are in the correct positions for our new motherboard. Next, insert the rear IO shield and then fit the motherboard and fasten it down securely with the correct screws. Now we insert the PSU and hard drive into the concealed space at the back of the case, once again making everything is securely mounted with the correct screws. If you had a fully modular PSU, it's good practice to connect up all the wires you're going to need before securing the PSU into place, as it can be tricky to get to later. I find that this is a good time to route some of the front panel connectors while there is room to work with. There's nothing worse than trying to connect up a power button header once your case is full of GPUs and coolers that restrict your space. Next up is the CPU and the memory modules, which just slot into place, and then the water cooler. This Cooler Master cooler, unlike most I've used, connects directly to mounting points on the motherboard, making installation less tricky. I mounted the rad to the front of the case so it can draw outside air directly over the fins, and also because there isn't quite enough space at the top inside this case to also include the fans. Once the rad is secure, I applied a little thermal paste to the CPU and connected up the heatsink pump combo, ensuring to route wires as I go to make it easier later on. Moving on to the NVMe drive and our GPU. The system is starting to look more complete at this point, and it's time to route through our cable extensions. Finally, I secured some RGB fans to the top and rear of the case before moving on to the most challenging part in a case this size. Cable management. Just look at all that spaghetti. It's always tricky getting this side neatened up, and while it can be tempting to just jam the side panel on, with a bit of effort and a lot of cable ties, I managed to get this looking fairly organised. I've paired this build up with an AOC 24-inch 1080p 75Hz gaming monitor with FreeSync, and thanks to its DisplayPort connection, we can enable G-Sync with this monitor. We're also using some more of AData's XPG range with the Inforex K-Den RGB gaming keyboard and M20 RGB gaming mouse. Considering the price of these peripherals, they're amazingly good quality and were surprisingly weighty, unlike a lot of the flimsy cheap RGB sets you can find. So let's have a look at the finished build in all its glory. For a mid-range build, I think we've managed to achieve a very much high-end look and feel to this PC. All that RGB means a near endless level of colour customization, but for now we'll let it show off its rainbow magnificence. It might look good, but how does it perform? I used the data from my Fallen Order video for a comparison, link in the corner if you haven't seen that one. The new rig storms ahead of the average hardware set with consistent 60 frames per second and above frame rates at every testing point, and only just falls short of the 1070i's results, making this card comparable to a GTX 1070 of last generation. Impressive considering it has 2GB less VRAM, showing how much difference the new GDDR6 can make. For a quick overclock test, I enabled Precision Boost and left everything else CPU wise on auto. This got the 2600X up to 4.15 GHz on all cores. I pushed the RAM up to 3200 MHz without changing any voltages, and the 1660 Super used a new performance curve from Afterburner's OC scanner. This essentially got the rig to match my 1070 Ti's stock performance, which really shows how good the up and coming mid-range really is. A quick couple of Cinebench runs shows the 2600X overclock speed nearly matching the 1700X stock speed. Considering there are less cores and threads on the 2600X, this goes to show how much AMD's individual core performance improved between generations. Looking at this chart, I think it might be time for me to get an upgrade myself. If you're looking at buying in the mid-range right now, for me at least, this is about the pinnacle. The 2600X obviously being superseded by the 3600X, but it's still a great value proposition. The 3600X is closer to £200, where this is only about £120 to £130, depending where you can pick it up. 6 cores, 12 threads, overclockable just using Precision Boost to over 4.1 GHz. I've seen people get these things up to 4.5 using water cooling and a lot of custom overclocking. I didn't really get the time to try and push it that far, but I'm fairly certain that this one would have at least got 4.4. The AData Spectrix RAM, very easily pushed up another 200 MHz. Once again, had I played with the voltages a little bit, I think we could have got more out of that. It looks pretty good. Incredible value for a 16GB 3000 MHz kit. The 1660 Super, it's right in the middle of Nvidia's confusing product stack at the moment. For me, this kind of makes the one above and the one below fairly redundant. The GDDR6 does make a very big improvement to gaming. This is practically the same performance as GTX 1070. The standard 1660, for the price difference, there is no point. Get the 1660 Super. And if you're going for a 1660 Ti, well, the 2060 isn't that much further than that. So for me, the 1660 Super and the 2060 are the two to go for in the mid-range. If you've got the lower budget, get the 1660 Super. If you've got a little bit more to spend, go for the 2060 Super. The 8GB of DDR6 are going to make a huge impact over this, and obviously you then get the ray tracing as well. Well, that wraps it up for this video. What did you guys think of the build? Would you do anything differently if you were buying in the mid-range? let me know in the comments section. If you like the video, make sure to like it and hit the subscribe button. And join me again next year when I've got a whole bunch of more videos lined up for you. Until then, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll see you next time.